Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and we're revisiting the sessionable, drinkable, low ABV New England IPA for Mike's brother-in-law. Thank God for him, because, you know, who else would we be brewing beers for except for ourselves? So we did a video a few weeks back to talk about Mike's first attempt at this particular type of beer. I think, like, you know, this guy wanted a juicy hop bomb, but low on the alcohol side, so that he and his friends could crush it somewhere, you know, in the woods of New Hampshire, Vermont.
I don't know. I think they were on like a lake's house somewhere.
You don't even want to know.
Yeah.
You just take the beer and go. I don't want to know anymore.
That's basically what happened.
Right. I know. So this is chance number one, or attempt number one.
Yep.
And we've tasted this and we've talked about this, and it's held up pretty good even over the few weeks. And now we've got attempt number two, and Mike's going to talk about the difference and what did you learn from attempt number one? And
what I did.
Yeah, what's number two?
So beer number one, if we remember right, I'll just the very basic recipe is 42% Pilsner malt, 36% pale malt, and then 10% flaked oats, 10% torrefied wheat.
Yep.
So the original beer used Galaxy, Equinox, and I can't remember the other one.
Come on now.
I know. Help me out. Help a brother out. It's late in the day. What was it? Number one was Simcoe. Simcoe right. Equinox, right? And then so when we tasted this one, I want to drive a little more fruit into it, and so I sort of decided to mix it up a little bit and maybe give it a try. And some people recommended this too, and I was thinking about this. So this beer now is Galaxy, El Dorado, and Huell Melon.
Right.
Okay. Just trying to get a little bit more softer, fruity flavors in there, and we can talk about it.
Did you dry hop with Azacca?
So both beers were dry hopped with Azacca and Amarillo.
Yeah.
Now, what I noticed when I pulled the cylinder out, I used the stainless steel cylinder from the first beer, which was 2 ounces of Azacca, 2 ounces of Amarillo. When I pulled that out, there was a little bit of still some somewhat dried hop material in there, so I hadn't really gotten a good full soak. But remember, with that beer too, I was going for like cold and quick dry hopping, just as an experiment. When I made beer number two, the timeline for getting the beer out the door had collapsed a little bit on me based on when I thought he needed it. So this one has had the dry hop canister in it for, it's been at least probably 14 days now. Okay. Okay. And what I also did with this one, because of some of the dry hops in there, dry hops, the pellets were still, this one I did 1.5 ounces of each of those. So it's a total of 3 ounce dry hop versus it was just 4 ounces. Okay. Just trying to make sure I had a little more room in the canister to get it mixed with the beer. Good, and I was a little bit more active with this one about trying to rock a little bit to make sure the pellets were getting saturated. Right. So that's the only real difference. In the two recipes with the hops. The other big difference, which you can see in the haze factor and the color factor, is that when I made the first beer, this was really a test batch for the grist and getting the alcohol right, and get a first pass on what hop combinations I liked, but more importantly my brother-in-law liked. So I didn't really have what I would consider like a hazy IPA yeast at the time. So this one is, remember, this was like a weird blend of the White Labs, a pitch of the dry, and of WLP 007, the dry English yeast, and it got a full packet of the Lallemand East Coast Ale yeast, which is supposed to be good for this style, right? But clearly, it was about this hazy before. I mean, it's settled out in the keg. It's been in the keg for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. But this is Imperial Yeast A04 Barbarian. So the Conan, like heady topper type strain, supposedly, right? So that's what this one is. And you can see that after being in the keg for over 2 weeks, it's still holding a nice haze. And that just shows you like those, whatever is going on there, the hop polyphenols and the yeast character, whatever, it's still pretty hazy. So that's cool.
Connected.
All right. So those are the particulars. The big difference is yeast here and
difference of
the length that it's had dry hop.
Sure.
So,
but also Huell Melon
Yep.
and El Dorado,
Yep.
which people go gaga over. I'm really trying to pull out a lot of difference.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, certainly.
Start with the aroma.
Yeah, I know. I should
Start with the aroma.
Well, now I feel like I've been sipping so much that
I will say that for being
it's hard to pull
on
out.
dry hops,
Yeah.
and also being lugged around by those guys, like this keg was at the beach house, down on the boat,
Yeah.
right? There's really not some mind-blowingly significantly larger hop aroma here than there is here.
No, that's true. But it seems the freshness.
It's definitely fresher.
Yeah.
It's because it's younger.
Pulls that out.
But it's not boom, you're getting hit over the head with
No.
some sort of dry hop aroma versus this.
Yeah.
So there's something too that 48 hour dry hop here versus 2 weeks
Right.
of the same two
you
dry
hopped
hops.
in the keg
Just a
and-
slightly hopped in the keg. So so that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's something to explore later. But I think for the ease of life, at least in this example, I wouldn't be fishing out that thing anymore.
Just leave it in.
And I don't fish it out. I actually rack over to. I push, close, transfer over to a new keg.
Yep.
And then I retrieve my canister. But anyway, what do you think about the flavor shift? You think with the?
Well, we talked a little bit about there was a piney note in the first one, which doesn't seem to be as strong.
Yeah, that's relaxed
it's kind
a
of
little
relaxed a bit.
Yep.
This has what I would say, and it may be the Conan, strain, but
Yep.
it has what I think are seminal, New England IPA flavor notes.
Okay.
I think are yeast derived.
Yep. The thing for me when I
flavors.
first tasted the new one, I thought I really wasn't as enamored with it as I was the first one. I thought, oh man, I went too far with screwing around with it. Because there is in this one, there's a subtle lime, maybe almost mint-like note. The mint is really suppressed, but that's the best way I can describe it. There's a not herbal, but there's this effervescent type of flavor component in there, somewhere between mint, eucalyptus, in that weird family, right?
Yep.
Maybe resiny, it would be a way to say that. But
Yeah, it's
there's
getting
something
closer.
about the El Dorado or Huell Melon combination that at first in this one I didn't really care for. And my brother-in-law, when we did a quick taste test of this, he said, oh yeah, he's like, it's good. And as you drink it, it sort of grows on you and the flavor profile opens up a little bit. But he said they were crushing it, this beer, on the trip. And as they all drank it, it got better. My brother-in-law also told me, he said, even for him, having it even fewer days later, that it was getting better and better. So, so yeah, I don't know. In tasting it now, I sort of like it more than I did before. I think the aroma's, just a little bit fresher, it's a little bit more floral, a little more fruity.
But the bitterness that you were perceiving in this one is not in this one at all. And I think that's the big difference for me.
Yep.
That all the hop flavor comes into the front and it doesn't linger. It seems like it's just a nice explosion and then it finishes dry.
I mean, I think the shift out of the Simcoe has probably removed that note to it, which is what I was going for. I don't know if I would brew this again and combine Galaxy, El Dorado, and Huell Melon. The one thing I'm not doing here is I'm sort of explicitly avoiding the citrus hops.
Yeah.
Right? And I think for me, it's missing a little bit of that. I mean, you can argue that the Amarillo and maybe the Azacca as dry hops is going to bring some of that to the party, which is why I use them. But getting a little Citra or Cascade Centennial in there might make some of those other fruit flavors sing a little bit. The real thing would be to brew version 3 might involve losing Galaxy.
Yeah.
And seeing where we go from there. Right.
Because I think Galaxy is very prominent in both these beers. That from even the first time we tasted the first one, I said the Galaxy's there, and it's pretty strong. So it'd be interesting to have El Dorado be your main,
the focus. The focus.
And all
hop.
the other things are complementary to it.
Yeah.
But be good. Yeah.
Cool. So anyway, good beer. So the numbers when I brewed this one, on my system, I was very consistent, hit the exact same gravity again, and so it's still 4.5% alcohol. I mean, even though it's a different yeast, it fermented out the same way, fermented them basically at the same temperature.
Yep.
So it came out great. I mean, the process-wise, it was on the money.
Cool. Mission accomplished with, you know, making sure your brother-in-law got what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, look, after like the first 3 sips, he was probably like, you know what? This is wonderful.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that some of it came back. Literally, there was like this much in the
And that's why we
keg.
have something to taste and compare.
Yeah.
Because there was a little bit.
Because I just didn't get a chance to pull a sample before I got it out the door to him, you know, so.
Probably for the best.
Before he, you know, I mean, he didn't even stop the car. I just had to handle it through the window.
Contactless delivery, right?
Yep.
Cool. Well, that is pretty good, man. Interesting that you changed, but like, again, maybe it's to say something about your process. Certainly, like the differences are subtle, and you know, I think they're both very enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, but enough to like comment on and say, hey, this is different, and it's clear why. Just with like little changes to what hops you're putting in, and also like contact time.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Which is something you brought up. Maybe is that something you'd like to test out? I mean,
I think I would explore this a little bit more. I think if I think maybe brewing 10 gallons of the exact same beer, getting a second cylinder for dry hopping, and do a duplicate side by side, and let one go for you know, 2 days dry hop, and have one in there for 10 days.
True.
And we could pour them at the same time, same age, and
then talk about it.
And do it. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
All right, well, that's what we have for these 2 beers. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel because we do this every week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, brew on.
Cheers.